here's something interesting. If you're truly making the most of breast play, I know you've been curious about them, the way they feel, the way they look. But let's face it, when it comes to actually touching them, many men rush past the moment, missing out on one of the most powerful ways to please her. Here's the thing. Breasts are incredibly sensitive, and with the right techniques, you could make her experience pleasure like never before, perhaps even reaching a climax just from the touch of your hands. Now, did you know that a woman's breasts are actually connected to her clitoris? That's right. When you touch her breasts, you're simultaneously stimulating areas near her clitoris as well, setting the stage for her body to respond and get aroused. It's the kind of move that can drive her wild, and if you master it, you'll be remembered as a truly great lover. But how do you get there? How do you turn that curiosity into genuine skill? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. I'm your intimacy coach, and I'm thrilled to have you here. If you're new to my channel, I'm excited to share this journey with you. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so we can continue exploring together. And to all my returning friends, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible. So, let's start with one of the most important elements, building anticipation. You've probably heard that a woman's most important sex organ is her mind, right? We crave to be teased. We want the buildup, not just the immediate reward. A common mistake that many men make is rushing into the breast play too quickly. But think about it. The breast should be the main event, and there's so much you can do before you get there. Begin by genuinely appreciating her, both physically and emotionally. Compliment her body, her breasts specifically, but do so with respect and admiration. Compliment her shape, how perfect she is, and how much you adore her. This sets the stage and lets her know that she's desirable. Then, instead of jumping straight to her breasts, begin by kissing her neck, collarbones, and shoulders, slowly, deliberately. This slow, intentional buildup will tease her senses and prepare her body for what's to come. By doing so, you're priming her for deeper pleasure. This slow buildup is what transforms a simple touch into something unforgettable, because when anticipation is done right, her entire body begins to respond even before you reach the moment you've been waiting for. And once you finally get there, the next step is just as important, how you begin the actual touch. Instead of rushing in with intensity, start with softness. This is where most people go wrong. They assume more pressure equals more pleasure, but in reality, the opposite is often true in the beginning. Use your fingertips to gently trace around her breasts, moving slowly and intentionally, but avoiding the nipples at first. This creates a sense of suspense, a quiet tension that builds inside her. Every light movement increases her awareness, making even the smallest touch feel amplified. As her body begins to react, you can slowly shift your approach. Move from light tracing to gently cupping her breasts, feeling their natural weight in your hands. Gradually introduce a soft squeeze, but stay attentive. Her breathing, her subtle movements, the way her body leans toward or away from your touch, these are all signals guiding you. If you pay attention, she will tell you exactly what feels right without saying a word. And then comes a part that is often underestimated, the area around the nipple. Many people focus only on the center, but the surrounding area is filled with sensitive nerve endings that can be just as responsive, if not more. Begin by lightly circling this area with your fingertips, maintaining a steady rhythm. Let the sensation grow naturally instead of forcing it. As her enjoyment becomes more visible, you can slowly introduce more direct stimulation. Use your fingers or lips to trace gentle patterns, always staying in tune with her reactions. Variation is key here. Alternate between softer and slightly firmer touches to keep her senses engaged. Predictability dulls sensation, but contrast keeps it alive and exciting. What truly elevates the experience, though, is when you stop treating this as an isolated action. The body is interconnected, and pleasure becomes far more intense when multiple sensations are experienced at once. As your hands explore her breasts, let your other hand travel across her body, perhaps along her waist or inner thighs, while your lips move softly along her neck. This layered stimulation creates a deeper level of arousal that feels natural and immersive rather than mechanical. When everything works together, the experience becomes something she doesn't just feel physically, but emotionally as well. And that's where the real connection begins to form. Now that you've mastered the art of building anticipation and setting the stage with gentle, intentional touches, it's time to dive deeper into one of the most powerful areas of breast play, the areola and nipple. Many people overlook this part, but it's often where the most intense sensations can be found. Let's start by focusing on the areola, that dark area surrounding the nipple. It's incredibly sensitive, rich in nerve endings, and can be just as responsive as the nipple itself. So instead of rushing straight to the nipple, take your time with the areola. Lightly graze it with your fingers, slowly circling the area, applying just enough pressure to bring awareness to the skin without overwhelming it. This subtle touch is the key to unlocking a heightened level of sensitivity. Once you've teased the areola, move toward the nipple itself. Use your fingers, your lips, or your tongue, whatever feels right in the moment, and gently circle the nipple. Start softly, then gradually build the intensity. If she's responsive, continue with slow, deliberate movements, but if she's not quite there yet, dial it back and let her build the sensation on her own time. It's about pacing the pleasure, not forcing it. Once she's visibly responding and her body starts to react to the touch, you can introduce even more variation. Try gently nibbling on her nipple if she's into it, but be sure to keep things light. This isn't about roughness, it's about finding that delicate balance where pleasure becomes all-encompassing. The more you alternate between light and firmer touches, the more her sensitivity will evolve. But here's a pro tip: stay attuned to her body language. Women are experts at showing, without saying, what feels good. If her breathing becomes quicker, if her back arches slightly, or if she moves her body closer to yours, these are all signs you're on the right track. If she pulls away or tenses up, slow down, ease back, and check in with her. The key to truly great breast play isn't just in the actions, but in the way you make her feel safe and cared for in the moment. As you continue, try combining different touches, soft, firm, slow, fast, to keep the experience dynamic. The more variety you introduce, the more her senses will be overwhelmed in the best way possible. Now that you've already mastered the art of building anticipation and setting the stage with gentle, intentional touches, it's time to delve deeper into one of the most powerful areas of breast play, the areola and nipple. Many people often overlook the areola, focusing solely on the nipple, but it's actually where a lot of the magic happens. Let's begin with the areola, that dark area surrounding the nipple. The areola is incredibly sensitive and contains a concentration of nerve endings that can rival the nipple itself. So instead of jumping straight to the nipple, it's crucial to give this area some love. Start by lightly grazing it with your fingers, moving in gentle circles around the area. Apply just enough pressure to bring awareness to the skin, but not enough to overwhelm it. This soft, teasing approach is key to heightening the sensitivity of the entire area. Once you've teased her areola, it's time to move towards the nipple. There are a few different ways to approach this depending on her preferences. Some women respond best to the lightest touch, while others may enjoy more pressure. If you're unsure, start with a gentle touch. Use your fingers, your lips, or your tongue to softly circle her nipple. This gentle stimulation allows her to become accustomed to the sensation. As you go along, you can begin to increase the pressure gradually, testing her reactions to find the rhythm that works best for her. An important element to keep in mind is variation. Once you've started working the nipple, don't just stick to one technique. Mix it up. Gentle flicks of the tongue, light sucking, or even soft nibbling, all these variations add a new layer of sensation. You can alternate between softer touches and firmer stimulation, which can heighten her sensitivity and make each movement feel new and exciting. One of the best things you can do during this process is pay attention to her body language. A woman's body will always tell you what feels good and what doesn't, sometimes without her saying a word. If her body leans into your touch, if she gasps, or if her breathing quickens, you'll know you're on the right track. However, if she pulls away, tenses up, or doesn't respond as you expect, ease back a little. Don't be afraid to slow things down and check in with her. Effective breast play isn't just about the technique, but also about creating a safe space for her to experience those sensations. Once you've found a rhythm and built up her response, try incorporating more touch variety. Play with different speeds. Slowly trace patterns with your fingers or lips around her nipple, then shift to faster, more deliberate actions. Alternating speeds keeps her senses sharp and on edge. Similarly, switching between soft, gentle movements and firmer, more intense touches can add an element of surprise that keeps her arousal levels high. These subtle changes can make all the difference in keeping the experience fresh and exciting. Another way to intensify the sensation is to combine nipple and areola stimulation with other forms of pleasure. As you continue to explore her breasts, it can be incredibly stimulating to touch other erogenous zones at the same time. For instance, while you're gently sucking or caressing her nipple, run your hands along her inner thighs or gently trace the edges of her waist. Your mouth doesn't need to stay confined to her breasts either. Kissing along her neck or even lightly biting her earlobe can provide a level of stimulation that makes her feel consumed by pleasure. The key here is coordination. By alternating between breast play and other touches, you create a layered experience that keeps her body engaged and constantly on the edge. The combination of physical sensations makes the entire experience feel more complete and immersive. Some women, especially those who are more sensitive or have a stronger sexual connection to their breasts, may also appreciate temperature play during breast stimulation. You can introduce warmth or cold as a way to heighten the sensations. For example, gently trace an ice cube across her breasts and then alternate by kissing the area with warm lips. This sudden contrast can amplify her sensitivity, making her feel each touch more intensely. For an even more exciting experience, you could experiment with a feather tickler, which lightly brushes her skin, or even incorporate nipple clamps if she's open to that. These tools can bring an entirely new level of sensation that might surprise her. And don't forget that the key to all of this is the emotional connection. The right touch isn't just about the physical act, it's about how she feels in that moment. Breast play, when done with care and attention, doesn't just stimulate the body, it also taps into the emotional bond you share. If she feels emotionally connected to you, safe and cared for, then her body will naturally open up to the experience. Take the time to check in with her and ask what feels best. Confidence combined with emotional intelligence will ensure that she is completely immersed in the experience, feeling not only physically but emotionally aroused.